Now, when you first think about Thomas the Tank Engine, what comes to mind? A children's show? A children's book series, perhaps? Well, majority of people think that, but I don't. Well, yes, it does seem like the series started off as a bunch of simple bedtime stories for kids, but it grew over time. It became something much more than that, and it gained its own world and history, and had a dedicated man behind all of it. That man's name being Wilbur Bear Awdry. Wilbur's son, Christopher, was sick with measles at the age of 2 in 1942. So to distract him from his illness, his father would tell him stories about trains and would draw him pictures to go with these stories. One of these engines had a sad expression. "Why is he sad?" Christopher would ask his father. "Because he was old, and he hadn't been out for a very long time." "What's his name?" Christopher asked his father. Wilbur said the first name that popped into his head. Edward. His wife Margaret urged him to publish these stories, so in 1945, the first of many books from the series called the Railway Series was published, titled The Three Railway Engines, starring Edward, Gordon, and Henry. These 4 short stories starred Edward, Gordon, and Henry doing certain things around the railway, and each story focused on one of them, with the 4th story focusing on all 3 of them together. In 1946, however, Wilbur didn't know what else to write about, so he decided to write about his next character, Thomas the Tank Engine, who was originally based off of a wooden model train that he made his son Christopher in 1942 out of a piece of a broomstick handle. The books kept going, and as they kept going, they got more popular. There was a documentary about the Blue Bell Railway in England made by a woman named Britt Allcroft, who had heard about the railway series prior and approached Wilbur in making a television adaptation of his books, to which Wilbur agreed. In 1984, Britt Allcroft adapted the railway series for television, newly titled Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, which all of its episodes would focus on stories from the railway series, using real-life model trains on sets directed by David Mitton. And because the TV series was based on the railway series, the show had some really unique vocabulary.
"What you need," said Edward, "is a deputation." He explained what that was. Percy ran back quickly. "Edward says we need a depot station."
Although, even as early as Season 3, they stopped doing some railway series stories and dabbled into some original ideas. This one is called All at Sea, where Duck wants to go across the ocean, but he can't because he's just a steam engine, and Percy has to remind him of his limitations as such.
"I wish I could sail to faraway lands," sighed Duck. "Engines can't go sailing," snorted Percy, "because engines can't float." Duck still had his dreams.
But then, when a man is injured and has to go to the hospital, it's only a job for a steam engine, so Duck has to learn that there are some things that he can and cannot do, but he became content with knowing all of that. So the show had a ton of complex morals to teach other people, something way more than just a kid's show would have. They'd probably tell you, be patient, or to not, be mean to other people. But this one's telling you to accept who you are and understand your limitations, which this episode demonstrates beautifully.
"That was kind of Harold," whispered Duck. "He may have whirly arms instead of wheels, but he seems to understand just what an engine needs." Duck still wonders about the lands beyond the horizon, but I think he knows that sometimes the best travels are those we can only dream about. Don't you?
Now with all of the wholesome stuff out of the way, let's get into the violent aspects of the TV series. Season 5 was the very first season of the show to not have any railway series stories in them. And at this point, the show was definitely not afraid to get a little bit more violent with what they were showing, proving that it's more for a general audience, as normal kids would probably get a bit scared whenever they see this.
It was loaded with rock.
That lorry's in trouble, thought Toby. And he was. The driver was thrown clear.
They also weren't afraid to show that humans got hurt.
Oh no! We're in the scrapyards!
The show also wasn't afraid to mention the scrapyard, a place where engines can get cut up, burnt, and just destroyed. So the implications that an engine can come here to just be murdered is pretty dark for a show like this, leaving the audience to think and ponder.
Got you this time, Stepney. You'll make very fine scrap indeed. Buffer 'em, Bert. The Diesels took him to the large smelter shed. Bye-bye, Stepney. Stepney looked up. Above him was a huge grabber. This engine's not for scrapping. The grabber wasn't listening. But just as it was about to grab hold of him, it stopped.
While, yes, they wouldn't actually show a sentient character being killed, the implication is still really messed up. They were literally writing a story on how Stepney was saved from scrap before, only for him to almost be killed again. And it's still really messed up and leaves the viewers kind of scared, proving that, well, it's not all sunshine and rainbows in this universe.
Bluebells forever!
And they also decided to dabble into the world of the supernatural in Season 5 as Duncan gets spooked. Rusty tells Duncan a ghost story, and where a clearly sentient engine falls off the viaduct and falls into the ravine. A sentient character dies on screen. If that doesn't show you that Thomas and Friends can be a bit dark, I don't know what does.
He was never found again. But many a workman will tell you that when the moon is full, they have seen the little engine trying to get home. But he never reaches the other side. So what do you think of that, Duncan? Rubbish, replied Duncan.
Later on, Duncan's crew tries to scare Duncan by trying to make him think about the ghost, but then he actually sees fireflies form the shape of an engine, which he thinks is the ghost trying to communicate with him, leaving it ambiguous if the story was real or not. Yes, Duncan's crew were trying to play a prank on him, but what Duncan saw, they didn't plan that. The ghost story could be real, it could not be real, which leaves the audience wondering, was it ever true? After Season 7, Hit Entertainment bought out Thomas and Friends and made their own episodes from Seasons 8 to 12, but then they had the CGI series from Seasons 13 to 16. So, the series really didn't show that much more dark and twisted content. It was definitely more dumbed down for babies, honestly, which definitely doesn't help. But these seasons are not really the majority of the show. But that's why the fans hold Seasons 1 through 5 in such high regards, because the show was not afraid to talk down to kids at that time. From 2004 to 2012, Thomas and Friends was pretty dumbed down, but the show was still okay with a few decent episodes, but nothing too, well, grandiose in terms of morals or storylines. In 2012, Mattel bought out Thomas and Friends from Hit Entertainment, and in 2013, Season 17 started with head writer Andrew Brenner writing a lot of the episodes. The episodes started to have their classic charm again. Yeah, you people would argue, oh, it's CGI, it's more for babies than it ever was. But personally, the Brenner era, which is Seasons 17 through 21, is my second favorite era right next to Seasons 1 through 7, the classic series, which was the first 7 seasons with the models. But the Brenner era is really good because the characters are written like they were supposed to again, and the stories are more grounded in reality. They're not ridiculous like the Nitrogen era episodes, but they're also not, boring like the hit episodes. They actually have some substance again. The characters are written how they should. They act like they should. And especially how they act like real trains again. It's really nice to see all this stuff happen at the time, with good episodes, good seasons, good specials, and good new characters. It was really refreshing to see this at the time, and people call it the Brennaissance because Andrew Brenner wrote these episodes that seemed to bring Thomas back from the dead. The merchandise was good. Thomas was definitely at its peak, especially around 2014 to 2015. The CGI series even had some aspects that the classic series didn't have, like having in little bits of humor throughout some of the episodes and specials, as does this scene.
I'm not going! I'm too sleepy.
What? You have to come. You have to apologize, and you're not scared, are you?
And the specials during this era definitely had a lot of tense moments, as of this one in 2014's Tale of the Brave.
No! Stop! There's been a mistake! You can't leave! Come back! Stop the ship, Cranky!
Stop the ship!
Don't let it go! This is an emergency!
Got it!
You'll never hold her! She'll pull you overboard! Careful, Cranky! No! Stop! Quick, everybody! Loosen up your chain, Cranky! Let go your hook!
I can't!
Luckily, the captain was able to stop his ship before Cranky was pulled off the docks.
I told you I had it.
Phew.
Percy!
And in the first 5 minutes of the next movie in 2015, they had a really crazy scene of Thomas derailing the Express.
Bye, Gordon!
Thomas, what are you doing? Come back with my coaches!
You'll have to catch me first!
Stop, Thomas!
Oh, Thomas, look out! The signal is red!
Thomas! Uh-oh! What have I done?
The movie's score is also worth mentioning. I would also like to point out the score in this scene. And then there was also an entire scene where Sailor John threw things at Tommy.
Skip! Drop anchor!
Here, let me drop it for you!
And then this lunatic tried to throw dynamite at him.
but I have to stop you somehow.
That's okay, Thomas. Try again. Derail me.
Treachery! Mutiny! I won't stand for it! I'll have you in the dry dock skiff and take away your sail!
Oh no! Skiff!
And I swear this will be the last time I mention it, but the score in this movie is phenomenal. Just listen to this. This also features the very first time a human and Thomas was arrested.
The next morning, Sailor John was picked up by the police.
Hello. What have we got here then?
But I'm innocent, I tell you.
Tell that to the judge.
He was placed under arrest.
You got the wrong fire.
Although in 2016, the show definitely got a bit more dumb and unrealistic, just like the show used to be from 2004 to 2012. But the episodes after this movie were still okay until 2017, when the engine started to bounce their bodies around and definitely got more unrealistic. And seasons 22 to 24 were probably some of the lowest of the low episodes of the entire series. And then Mattel decided to make a reboot of the series, which a trailer dropped in January 2021, where it was 2D animated, the engines bounced off the tracks. It was bad. Now, for this part of the video, I would probably recommend to shield your eyes. So, All Engines Go is a 2D reboot of Thomas made in 2021, where the engines are obviously 2D animated, jump off the tracks, do stupid things. I don't really want to keep talking about it. Everyone in the fandom hates it. Thomas was at its lowest low, more than seasons 22 to 24. It was a new season 1. It wasn't even a continuation of the original series. The original series was canceled in favor of this. The toys of them look good, but only because the proportions and colors are really easy to make into toys. It was stupid. As of 2025, All Engines Go is over, meaning there are no more new Thomas episodes being made, but 2026 has a lot of things planned for the franchise. But Thomas and Friends fans are keeping the series alive for hopefully years to come. This guy's name is Unlucky Tug on YouTube, making Thomas and Friends content and model train videos with his custom models of Thomas and his friends. He's my favorite Thomas YouTuber personally. And it just goes to show how much longevity the show has in someone's life, carrying it all the way to adulthood. At the end of the day, yes, Thomas and Friends started off and is a kid's show, but it has episodes and morals in it that will stick with people long after they are children. They bring it into their adulthoods with them. They do new things with it, make their own model trains, get into the hobby of model trains, and do all of these amazing things that otherwise would not have been possible if not for Thomas and Friends. The characters, the world that it was in, it's beautiful. And all these fan events like this one of the Tallyclyn Railway in Wales for Audrey Extravaganza, which as of now they have already done 5 of them, and these things are definitely hits for them. And all the adult Thomas and Friends fans that are there, not parents with their kids, but 20 to 30-year-olds hanging out with everyone else, doing their own thing with Thomas characters, buying their merchandise and actually reviewing it, having fun with it, keeping that magic of the franchise alive within them. And it's really nice to see everyone connect over this series and their shared love and undeniable loyalty to the world that Wilbur and Audrey left behind. But at the end of the day, Thomas and Friends isn't something insane like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings. It's just a fun, wholesome show that people, kids and adults alike, can watch, enjoy, and always keep with them forever.